What if I told you that you could book more days on film sets as a performer just by using the free resources on this page? That by the end of this short video, you'd have 5 actionable items to do just that. And that I was going to share these tips with you right now for free. Would you be interested? Great, because that's what this free video training is all about. It's about getting you 5 quick and easy tips to use this production list like a pro so that you can do more of what you love, getting paid to work on movie sets. These tips will apply to you whether you're a background performer, a principal actor, a stand-in, a special abilities actor, or a motion picture model, and whether you're already established with an agent or you're just starting out and looking for your first gig. Because I can say firsthand that as a performer in this industry, I went from having 3 set days a year and literally paying to work on movie sets with my first agent to averaging 3 set days a week fairly consistently for 2 years and living off that income once I finally took matters in my own hands, found the right agent for me, and I was proactive in my bookings. I then used the exact same knowledge, these same 5 tips for 3 years as an owner of my own talent agency to consistently help other performers just like you book more set days in 1 month than some other performers would book in a year. And the truth is, it's super simple stuff, but don't let the simplicity fool you. These tips are powerful because they are being overlooked by most performers. So because of that, if you just follow them, you'll have the opportunity to gain a competitive advantage very easily. And I'm sharing them with you because you decided to take action today and seek out the knowledge to help build your film career. And that's what we're here for. That's what we're all about at Real Academy. Helping aspiring and established performers like you find their own unique place in the industry, and then give you the knowledge and tools you need to excel in it. Hi, my name is Martin Traz, and I'm the founder and director of Real Academy, a community of Canadian film industry professionals that have come together to create an online knowledge hub for film industry performers just like you, so that you have easy access to the knowledge and resources you need to do your best work. Okay, now I'm going to assume that you're watching this video on the Real Academy What's Filming page. But if you found this video anywhere else on the web, then you'll want to make your way over to realacademy.com/what's filming so that you can utilize all these tips with this free production list resource. Okay. So now that we're on the same page, let's dive into the 5 ways savvy actors use this production list to stay on top of their game. We'll start with number 5 and make our way to the number 1 best way to leverage this production list. Okay? Alright, let's get started. The number 5 way to use this Real Academy What's Filming list like a pro is what I call work volume prediction. This is simply the ability to accurately know the expected amount of on-set work opportunities for the next casting period, kind of like having your very own crystal ball. And why is this important? Well, because any top actor will tell you that acting is not a passive activity. You're often needing to juggle set days with continued industry training and often a part-time, job, especially when you're not a known face yet, right? So when you have an idea of the upcoming on-set work volume in your region, then you know how to effectively prioritize so that you don't find yourself busy with training and a part-time job when bookings are booming, or sitting next to the phone when it's dead, instead of improving your craft and banking funds from that job when it's slow. I can't tell you how many times good performers and stand-ins have lost a tremendous amount of on-set continuity days when it was booming during pilot season and TV series season because they had scheduled a coaching session or a workday elsewhere. And then those same performers were sitting around waiting for the phone to ring and draining their savings during the off-season. In this business, you need to know how to able to effectively juggle priorities. And with our signature Real Academy industry work volume charts, we make it much easier for you to do that. You don't have to research the work volume. We've already done that for you. And I must say, our team has gotten pretty good with our monthly predictions, as we're consistently averaging about a 93% accuracy rate on our predictions. Just return to the same page every month and scroll down to the charts section to the production volume by province chart. Here, you can get an idea of next month's work volume in your region so that you can effectively manage your on-set booking expectations and organize your film work, side work, training mix for next month. This tip alone should help you organize yourself appropriately to be on the top of your game when it counts. And we're just getting started. The number 4 way to use this Real Academy What's Filming list like a pro is what I call recurring role prediction, which is the ability to accurately know the likelihood if your bookings for the next casting period will be one-off bookings or recurring roles. And if you've been around in this industry for any length of time, then you know that the money is in the recurring roles, where you keep coming back over and over again to play the same character on the same production. It's one booking, but many paying days on set, which is our goal here, right? So how do we predict recurring roles? Well, it's not by no means foolproof, and it's not really a science, because recurring roles can happen at any time, but there are much higher chances to have recurring roles on specific production types. You see, not all production types are equal. Feature films, episodic TV series, TV movies, and pilots all shoot for different durations and have different characteristics when they come to performer needs. Feature films, TV movies, and pilots often only book each person for one scene for the entire duration of the production. Sometimes, yes, you're lucky and that one scene shoots over a few days, but more often than not, it's just one scene. And those productions usually only film a couple weeks to a couple months for the larger feature films. Episodic TV series, on the other hand, can shoot for 6 months and more, and often come back to the same established sets for the show, such as perhaps a recurring police precinct like in the TV series Gotham, or a recurring cafe like on Once Upon a Time, or a recurring spaceship command center like on Star Trek, or maybe even a recurring classroom like on Riverdale. So the more available you are during the busy TV series shooting time, the more likely you are to book recurring roles, which is an easy way to rack up multiple set days in a hurry. This is even more powerful when you pair this with tip number 2, but we'll get to that. Right now, on Real Academy's What's Filming page, scroll down to the charts section, and next to the production volume by province chart we mentioned back in tip number 5, there's a production volume by format chart. Here, you'll be able to see the expected work volume for each type of production so that you know the likelihood that you'll be able to book a recurring role and bank multiple set days from the current productions based on their format, mainly the TV series. Do you see how little by little these super simple tips can help you use this free resource to proactively manage your booking expectations so that you can expend your time and energy when it counts? Okay, that brings me to tip number 3, and it's the quickest tip to use this page like a pro. It's the embedded tools. I have equipped this page with 2 interactive elements for your benefit. The first is the notification tool. When you subscribe to be on a notification list, you'll be emailed promptly as soon as this is updated. As we update this list once a month, and truthfully, it's not always in the same day of the month. Therefore, this way I can let you know as soon as it's updated so that you're the first in the know for what's filming this month and next. And because let's face it, the sooner you have the knowledge, the more valuable it is in its application. So be sure to subscribe to the notification list while you're here. And the second interactive tool on this page is the comments section at the bottom. This comments box is the single best way to let us know what problems you're facing and what new tools you'd like to develop to help you do your best work. My team and I read these new comments every month, and we take them seriously. We capture all the comments and ideas our community members share, and we add them to our giant whiteboard of ideas. We then use this information to develop new tools and resources. So you are in effect helping us shape the right tools that will ultimately help you. It's a win-win for everyone. In fact, this free training was born out of our community feedback. So I encourage you right now to leave us a comment on this page. Tell us your single biggest challenge in the Canadian film industry right now, and this is important, and what resource or tool you'd like to see developed to solve your challenge. By leaving a complete two-part answer, it will help ensure it gets grouped in with similar ideas and expedite its development. Okay, now you have two great tools to use as your very own crystal ball, a tool to notify you right away when that crystal ball returns new info, and a way to have new custom tools developed for your specific needs. See, you're already turning into a pro. But we're not done yet, because the two top ways to use this Real Academy What's Filming list like a pro are the juiciest. So let's jump into tip number 2. Number 2 is proactive positioning. I also like to refer this as casting request awareness. This simply refers to the ability to promote yourself in advance for the roles that casting will likely be requesting for any production. As mentioned in the beginning, this business is not for those that just sit idle and expect everything to just happen to them. You have to be proactive. You have to do some work. And I know that you are proactive because you're here listening to me and learning. You are here building your competitive advantage, so I'm going to help you do just that in a big way. Here's a big secret to get more days on set. Actually, it's not much of a secret, but somehow it manages to escape the minds of most performers out there. You need to make yourself the obvious choice. If an agent or casting director is sifting through their database with an idea of what the person looks like for the roles they are filming, they need to be able to say, "Oh yeah, totally, this guy or gal," when they see your face or think of you. You can't live in the gray zone or, "Well, maybe I'll consider them," because maybe is almost always no. It's yes or bust. When you can position yourself as an obvious yes for casting requests or production shooting right now, by adjusting your database pictures and relevant info to match those productions, and of course if you're a professional and reasonable performer, you're going to naturally see your on-set opportunities grow, or audition days for your principal actors out there, which ultimately lead to on-set days. There's no doubt about it. In fact, proactive positioning is one of the most common tools I've used in my toolbox, both as a performer looking for set days as well as an agent helping other performers book more set days, because it's super effective. Here's how it works. I would research the productions, understand their theme, and see what types of characters they might need. I would then customize my main image in the database in the profile to match the look of that show. In many cases, I would even go as far as updating the acting resume, the special skills list, the personal props list, and even sometimes as far as my own profile name to target a show. For example, if a TV series was starting up, and that series was a sci-fi series that needed lots of military types, I would have performers upload an updated profile picture with a very clean haircut, and change their secondary photos to any military, police type formal dress they might have. And I would list prop items like military boots if they own them, because let's face it, not every production is fully stocked with wardrobe for every foot size and body type. And if they happen to have any on-set firearms training or real military training, I'd list that in their special skills, and even change their name from John Doe to John Doe with military in brackets next to their name. Or in another example for the ladies, if it was a show that was like Baywatch style with lots of beach scenes of beautiful people, I'd have my motion picture models in my agency update their main photo to be beach themed, with lots of secondary pictures of their bikini collections. I'd also update their wardrobe inventory on their profiles to include lots of swimwear options. I'd update their measurements for costumes, and update their special skills to include things like swimming, can operate a jet ski, or lifeguard trained, for example. In their case, because they had modeling experience, I'd also update their name from Jane Doe to Jane Doe bikini model in brackets, or Jane Doe with lifeguard in brackets if it applied. In contrast, performers with the same old tired profile picture and outdated info that didn't match what's filming now were likely overlooked time and time again in searches, and found themselves sitting at home rather than being on set. They were a no or a maybe, which is effectively a no, unlike the performers in the two examples above, which were an easy yes. Do you see how the pro performers are able to create a competitive advantage? You need to be that easy yes, and here's how you do it. On the Real Academy What's Filming page, scroll to your region and find a production that sounds like one you really want to work on. Or even better, see which group of productions might be looking for the same type of person to multiply your efforts. Then, click on the provided IMDb link for that production and check out their IMDb page. Get familiar with the synopsis of the film or show and see what types of looks they have already cast. Sometimes an IMDb link is not available and you need to do more of a manual search, but in any case, next, do a Google search for the same production name and read a couple articles about the production and how they describe the setting. Even do a Google image search can be helpful as well, as there are many times where there are artistic artist renderings of the show shared to the media and are searchable online. Use this information to create some assumptions about the roles that might be cast and update your profile accordingly. Depending on the database software you're subscribed to, you might be able to update it yourself, or you might need to ask your agent or a site administrator to update it for you. Oh, and by the way, there's a little hidden benefit to updating your profile regularly. Some database software tools that agents and casting directors use to search for performers will actually by default prioritize results based on the most recent activity. So when you're actively managing your profile and consistently updating it, you're showing up at the top of searches, therefore being seen more often. And when your updated look matches what's filming by following this tip, you're getting booked more often as a result. It's a powerful hidden secret, and you're now in the know because you've watched this video this far. Which brings me to the most important point here. The number one spot, the top way to use this Real Academy What's Filming list like a pro so that you can book more days on set. Sit up and listen carefully, because none of what I just shared with you matters, not a single thing, if you miss this number one thing. You can have the most accurate crystal balls, you can be the first in the know, you can have the most killer profile, and frankly, it won't matter if you're not in the game. The number one way to use this Real Academy What's Filming list like a pro is to remember the term talent pool tapping. The ability to unknowingly place yourself into the right talent pool that will give you the ability to work on the productions you're hoping to work on. Okay, let me ask you something. If you want to win the Stanley Cup, what absolutely has to be true for you to even have a chance of this happening? You have to be on the team that's playing on the ice, right? If you're not on the team, you have no chance at all of hoisting that trophy. Preferably, you're on the stronger winning team to boost your odds, but I'll get to that. But you absolutely have to be on the team, on the right piece of ice when it counts. Similarly, in the film industry, you have to be in the right talent pool to even be considered for a specific production, or in extreme cases, sometimes a specific role. For that, you need to ensure you are tapped into the right talent pool the casting director is sifting through to book their roles. You see, not all casting directors work with all agents. Some casting directors will only look at specific talent databases. Some only their own personal databases. Some only with agencies. Some casting directors don't work with agents at all. The casting model is not exactly the same for every production. It's very rare that you sign up for one database and you open yourself up to all the opportunities of the region. In fact, even when you just compare background performer databases versus principal performer databases, they're almost always entirely different. When you move from one region to another, the database software can change again. In extreme cases, some roles are only cast through tiny specialized rosters. If a commercial is looking for athletes, they might only tap into specialized rosters that focus on athletes. The same can go with medical personnel, military types, young actors, motion picture models, and so on. Whether your situation is highly specialized or general, if you want to be in the game, you have to be on a team that's on the ice. You have to be tapped into the right talent pool. Once you're in the right talent pool, you can use the first 4 ways we've talked about to increase your odds. But if you're not in the game, they won't matter. Makes sense, right? So how do you ensure you're in the game? Well, use the Real Academy What's Filming list to see who is casting for that production. But don't just stop there. That's the mistake a lot of performers make. Take the extra step to ensure that you're tapped into the production's talent pool. Here's how you do that. Use this Real Academy What's Filming production list to see who's responsible for the casting of the background and or principal roles of production you want to work on. Once you have the names of the casting directors, you need to become intimately familiar with their casting preferences. Do they book generic performers, or do they book special ability performers? Do they book kids? Do they book stand-ins? Do they book models, etc.? Do they specialize in a theme like westerns? Also, which agency database do they search? Or do they not book through agencies and only utilize their own personalized talent pools? If you want to be in the game, you absolutely need to know these things. There's no other way. Now, I know firsthand by doing personal searches that it can be extremely difficult to find some of this info. A few casting directors have nice websites that provide useful info for us to answer these questions, but many do not. Many are very old school and are without websites, or their websites are super limited with information, or they just don't have any contact info at all. Unfortunately, this missing knowledge is what stifles many otherwise good performers from ensuring they're optimizing their odds. They just don't have the info to do a check and balance to know if they are even in the game. It wasn't until I started doing that research myself that I found out just how little info existed on the web regarding these critical matters. Fortunately for me, I have a company and a team to afford to do the extensive research necessary to find all the info. Also, as someone with personal relations with many of these casting directors and other industry connections, I also have an advantage to be able to reach out to these folks, who otherwise protect their privacy at all costs. The individual performer, however, normally does not, and that's the problem. It's beyond their control, with little room to have the resources to get the info they need. And I personally thought that needed to change. So I took on the giant investment in man hours and leveraging my relationships, and I created the ultimate database to answer these questions for each and every single performer that wanted the info. It took 2 months of dedicated work, but we finally got it done with a plethora of emails and phone calls. Trust me, tracking all the follow-ups, often 3 to 4 for each casting director, was a daunting task in itself. I put it all together into a slick online directory which is accessible from any computer or phone, and I named it the Canadian Casting and Agency Directory, or CCAD for short. Anyone having access to this document can now take the casting director names on the Real Academy What's Filming production list and cross-reference them in the CCAD to see exactly what their casting preferences are, if they work with agents, if they have their own talent pools, and most importantly, what database software they use to search the talent when they're casting for roles for their shows. The CCAD has at least 2 of these data points for most of the casting directors in every region across Canada. Yes, even the small obscure markets. It's really a must-have tool for any performer in the Canadian film industry who, 1, wants to ensure that there's no booking opportunities falling through the cracks, and number 2, to ensure they are maximizing their current opportunities. If you don't already have access to the latest version of the Canadian Casting and Agency Directory, you can grab your own copy by clicking the link, which is right below or next to this video, depending on which device you're looking at us on. Oh, by the way, in the same Canadian Casting and Agency Directory, you'll also find a listing of every agency in Canada, along with their contact info, special application procedures, booking and specialties, agency size, training requirements, and the database software they use. This is crucial info for when you're improving your marketability by leveraging the proactive positioning we discussed in the prior point. When you know what's filming, what roles are likely being cast by whom, and you know what kinds of bookings an agency specializes in, you find the overlap that results in ensuring you're in the right talent pool to maximize your booking opportunities for you. This is great for those looking for their first agent, looking to add an agent in a different category to their team, or perhaps looking to replace an agent. Just use the contact info and the application procedures outlined by each agency in the CCAD and approach them with your knowledge of what's filming and a profile that matches the look they need to book on the database software they are using. When you act this proactive and this professional, you're going to make it a no-brainer for that agent to say yes to you, to add you to the roster, and to book you right away. I know I would have, and I believe that many agents and casting directors will agree with me, which is why so many of them have participated in the Canadian Casting and Agency Directory project. So, now I turn the camera to you. I want to challenge you to act on each and every one of these 5 ways to use this Real Academy What's Filming list like a pro starting today, starting right now. Start buffering your crystal ball and becoming really good at predicting the best times for booking opportunities. Become more marketable by proactively positioning your acting profiles. And most importantly, start cross-referencing the casting directors on this production list with the data in the CCAD so that you're tapping into the right talent pools to ensure that you're even in the game. Start with the most important thing first and grab your copy of the Canadian Casting Agency Directory right now by clicking on the link, somewhere below or next to this video. Alright, congratulations on making it to the end of this training. I hope it's been super beneficial and valuable to you, and that you get all the benefits intended out of it when you take action on it today. My name is Barton Trask from the Real Academy team, and I'd like to thank you for spending this time together and allowing me to help you make the most of your opportunities in this rewarding and truly magical industry. I'll talk to you soon. Cheers.